Good evening and welcome to Magic Moderna. I am probably the last video in a while where I'll be talking about my Porsche. I've done a few bit of content on the Porsche. We are getting back into Magic Moderna territory, so we'll be back bringing out the Ferrari. I just I see a lot of content about owning cars and looking after them and so on. My 911 GTS 991.2 has just had a major service, and I'm still a little bit taken aback. Um, you know, £2,400 it all came to. Got it done at Porsche Reading, and I'll go back to this topic that a lot of people have. It's like buying one of these cars and running one of these cars are very different things. And I think depending on when you buy them, obviously makes a big difference. So I bought it and had it a couple of years, and I've landed with the 4 year sort of major service. I guess if I had it 2 years before that and then sold it, I wouldn't have this, pretty substantial bill. But the first thing that made me laugh was they sent through an online checklist, and under other and sundries was a bill for £12,000, which turns out that something has leaked into the turbos, some oil's leaked into the turbos, and they have to replace both turbos. I'm very pleased to tell you that that is being done under warranty. But 12 grand, imagine if that had not been under warranty and you were landed with that little bill. Apparently it happens a fair bit on these cars. So if you're buying a 911, mine's a GTS, probably doesn't matter, but a 911 GTS, get someone to check these things, because that is one hefty bill. Thank God it's under warranty. But anyway, I get the service stuff back, and I just like really to make the point that if you're going to own these cars, you have to be ready for some of these bills and some of these charges, especially if you're trying to keep the car under warranty. Now, obviously, in another year or however long I've got left on it, I probably, would not go back to Porsche, to be honest, because I just don't think it makes a difference. You go to a reputable Porsche specialist, and you can get some of these costs through a lot less. But when you do go to Porsche, there's some pretty substantial bills. I mean, a lot of this is standard. Anyone who's owned these cars probably won't batter an eyelid. But when you look at a £300 bill for removing rear bumper and spoiler for the spark plug change, that's £300 just to do a spark plug change, leaves me a little bit cold. The actual cost of the service, if I read this correctly, is £370. So if anyone tells you it costs £370 to do a service on a 911, just take that with a pinch of salt, because within that they've changed an awful lot of other things, and as you know, these things all come with substantial labour. Just to give you the bottom line of that total bill, £500 was parts, £500 was parts, the rest was labour, which we're all used to. We know labour is the thing that kills us, but quite good to sort of see it laid out. And I don't know, I was looking at some of the prices of what they've used, doesn't look crazy, but it just starts to add up. Like the spark plug, let me tell you, anything connected, anything that mentions spark plugs, right? Whether that is changing them, buying them, getting to them, whatever, has added up to 4, 6, nearly £750 to replace a spark plugs. I mean, holy shit, when you look at it like that, that is scary. And what does that involve? So it's like replace spark plugs, rear bumper spoiler removed, wheels removed for other inspection, and then the spark plugs themselves. So yeah, there you go. Change the spark plugs, And I know there's probably people out there that are going, I could change that for like 20 quid or something. I know the spark plugs will always cost, but there's definitely something to be said for a bit of DIY acumen, which I don't have. I mean, all the other things, like that was actually quite a big chunk of it if you add the service on, the actual service on top. 8 litres of oil, which all starts to add up. Like you can pay £120 to clear the debris from the front air ducts and water drains. Pretty sure I could go on YouTube and do that one next time. So I think like putting that turbo issue aside, which, you know, 12 grand, you just don't need that. I think it's really interesting, you know, for people who are buying. Imagine you bought this car. I mean, the second-hand price is pretty high at the moment. Imagine you bought this car thinking 70, 80 grand, you know, got this amazing car, and then a couple of weeks later you find you've got to replace both turbos and pay, I mean, they said 12 grand. It probably, by the time they get stuck into that, it'll be a bit more. I mean, that is the end of a dream right there. So I'll say it again. I've got a great video on YouTube about the Modena and how much does it cost to run a Modena, and I never come up with a price at the end because it's for exactly this reason, that any video that says, oh yeah, it costs you about 2 grand a year or 3 grand a year or 1 grand a year or whatever, it's kind of not relevant when you've got this level of potential expenditure that comes out of nowhere. So if you're going to buy one of these sorts of cars and you're on the limits of your finances, get it checked out really, really well. Not always easy to do from a dealer. Get a warranty, and I would say extend the warranty wherever possible. It feels really painful at the time, but then if you see this kind of bill, you go, okay, maybe that makes sense. And, you know, protect yourself as much as you can around the ownership of these things, because the Porsche, I've had 3 Porsches over the years. One was a bit hit and miss, but it was a bit older. I had a 997 that just never missed a beat, but I didn't have to do one of these 4-year services. That is something I'm slightly irritated about in a way, because I didn't really take that into my calculations. Find out if you're going to buy a car like this under warranty when the next major overhaul is, because you know you're immediately going to factor in that kind of cost. And just insulate yourself as much as possible when you're buying these cars. And that's it. It's I just wanted to give you a live update on just how much money you can spend on a service. I'm sure there are lots of other cars out there you can spend a ton more, but that was the latest from my 911 GTS 991.2, and hopefully for someone it may have made you think of something, or stop doing something, or don't buy something crazy. What it has done for me is told me, big red light now, this car's going. I've had it over 2 years, it's going, and I'm going to go electric. So there'll be a bit more on that when I get to that stage. Thanks for listening, and speak to you soon.